Okay, Case. Then I want to ask you a little bit about Africa Minerals operation, current objectives in Zimbabwe.
Our current objectives are to become cash positive as soon as possible. To become cash positive, you need an ore reserve. African Minerals have got currently two options to purchase two mines, the one being the Gloy mine in the Mount Darwin area, northeast of the country, and the other being the Ruby mine in the southwest of the country. There's also a option, a 90-day option, is about 60 days left, on the Alf mine in the center of the country. The first two mines both appear to have the potential of 20 kilogram operations each, 20 kgs per month each. The Alf mine may well turn out to be something similar to that. We are in the process, we're still negotiating with other operators, other mine owners, trying to do deals, trying to supply that bait, which is we've got the capital.
Could you tell us about current activities of Gloy and something also about the Gloy, the potential of Gloy?
Gloy currently is just idling along. She has 1-3 stamp doing toll milling, and this is in line with the future plan for Gloy. Gloy has got two MOs, two business plans. The mine itself has a substantial ore reserve, which can sustain a 4,000, 5,000 ton a month mine and milling operation. But the area is so significant in that the area has vast numbers of small-scale miners who lack the equipment. So Gloy is the only mine for about 100-kilometer radius presently with an infrastructure that can do toll milling and small worker mining assisted mining, and then they bring that ore. So Gloy's plan is 1,500 ton a month. The potential for the toll milling is 1,500 ton a month, helping those small workers with small, cheap compressors, basic equipment. You get more ore. The toll milling itself will literally pay for itself in the equipment hire, but the tailings which run around the 4-5 gram mark is going to be 5 to 6 kilos on its own, and that 6 kilos is profit. That puts the toll milling, hire of transport and stamp mills, and that other equipment I just mentioned that are on the shafts, that covers all the costs of that toll milling exercise, and the 6 kg, even 5 kg that comes out of the tailings is clear profit. Now those tailings would be pumped into the carbon in pulp circuit of the mine. Now the way commodities are climbing currently, those 5 kgs from those tailings will cover the cost of the entire mine. So what you net as an extraction from the mine is going to be clean profit. That's the big one for Gloy. Ruby?
Yes, just another question of Gloy before Ruby. We have currently, there has been drilled before, and there is an ore reserve of totally 1,300 kilo approximately, and it's drilled down to 50 meters on a strike length of 600 meters on a reef. Could you tell us a little about the potential of the ore reserves? Could it be larger?
Definitely can be larger. It will be larger because there's 2 points that point to it being larger. One, the actual Gloy shear zone is 1.5 kilometers long, and at each extreme end of that 1.5 kilometers, we have small workers mining extensions of that reef. In the next fortnight, we are acquiring another 1.5 kilometers onto the Gloy zone, gives it an overall strike length of 3 kilometers. But it is already being mined by these small-scale miners who only work on high-grade material.
What is the grade like?
Well, it varies. They've been milling on the Gloy stamp mill, but it's from 4 gram upwards of 10 gram a ton.
And what about depth?
But depth, that's the other indicator. Prior to 1938, the Germans worked the Gloy mine on one of its 100-meter long pay chutes. They went down to 170 meters. Now, in theory, that's 3 times deeper than what the drill holes that were drilled in 1996. It's 3 times the depth. So, both, there's been a couple of rounds of geologists up there, but 2 very prominent geologists have been up there, all said Gloy could be, well into the 3-4 tons of bullion reserves.
Yeah.
Too dark.
And Ruby, the other mine, can you tell us a little bit about that mine?
The Ruby reserve is very, very similar to my old midwinter mine. And the Ruby is situated on the slopes of a gently dipping mountain. It's not as a reef, but it's a pay zone, and it's a zone of enrichment. It's open cast. Gloy is underground, although recent visits on Gloy may show some open pit potential. But Ruby is open pit initially, and then punching into the underground. Purchasing the 2 mines, if you look at some of the equipment that's currently on Gloy, Gloy doesn't need the excavator it has. Purchasing both these mines, that excavator can be moved to the Ruby. But Ruby is potentially, speculatively, a 4,000 to 5,000 ton a month operation, somewhere in the region of 4 gram extraction. 20 kilo a month. There isn't much, from observation to date, there isn't much small worker artisanal mining in the area. So Ruby will be a self-standing mining operation. But it's an open cut, it's an open cast, which is presently cheapest mining you can get.
So, what do you expect from the coming due diligence? Can you tell us a little bit about how the due diligence is done?
We have, firstly, a very specialist geologist from Kenya, and then we have 2 geologists locally. The Kenyan geologist has mapped and marked his drill holes on the Gloy that he once drilled. We are currently just drilling to verify previous drill holes, to verify previous resource. And we should be drilling a week from now using reverse circulation percussion holes.
That means last week in August.
It does mean, yeah, last week of August, yeah. We do not anticipate being on the Gloy much more than 10 days. That same drill rig will be moved and used on the Ruby. Gloy is a very flatter drilling spot, where the Ruby is mountainous and hilly. But this is a crawler rig. She'll be on Ruby for quite a few weeks, because it's quite a stretched out, flatly laying ore reserve. Samples have to be sent to Antec, which is a laboratory in the center of the country. It's the only accredited laboratory that I'm aware of right now. But all reverse circulation.